Okay. Good afternoon, everyone. I'm so glad to see you all. I'm Chad Ramsey, Vice President of Policy for Ovarian Cancer Research Alliance, and you are here for the Advocate Leaders Info session. I'll be joined in this presentation with my colleague, Director of Policy, Vanessa Kramer. Say hello, Vanessa. Unmute yourself and say hello.
Hi there. It's great to be here, and it's good to see some familiar faces.
Absolutely. So we have 9 or 10 slides to go through in this presentation, and then, like I said, we'll have an opportunity for discussion. I do encourage you to use the chat function to ask any questions that you might have, and away we go. So let's see here. There we go.
Alrighty.
So yeah, Vanessa, why don't you take it away?
Okay, so we have a total of 112 advocate leaders. We represent 42 states and District of Columbia. And, if you're a quick study and good at arithmetic, you're probably like, how do you represent 42? Doesn't really go with 6 down below. So we have 8 states that are unrepresented. There is a typo. That last bullet is 8 states where we do not have advocate leaders. Of course, it is a goal of ours to be represented in every state. This is important because it gives us leverage on Capitol Hill and with those offices to have grassroots and points of contact in the state. So it is our goal to have full representation.
That's right. And if any of you are from North Dakota, Wyoming, Idaho, Nebraska, Kansas, Alabama, Vermont, Rhode Island, or Hawaii that are on this call, I'm immediately going to harangue you into applying for the program. If you know someone in any of the states that are unrepresented, that would also be helpful. You can absolutely share the map on social media. And you can also see the map on our website, okrahope.org/advocacy.
And I think too, because we're at the beginning of this conversation and because it always helps me when I'm learning about something in the spirit of really info gathering, I think just a little about the program. And Chad, please freely correct me if I'm mistaken, but it began in 2012. So it's about a decade old, and it's grown a lot since its inception. We still also importantly have a lot of advocate leaders, not a lot, but what would you say, maybe 10 advocate leaders or so, Chad, who have been around from the beginning. There are varsity advocate leaders.
Sure.
But there isn't really, each year we grow by a different number. It really fluctuates on applicant pool and kind of our resources and program budget. But this year and last year, because of COVID, it really enabled us to grow more because we were not flying people out to DC. So as you can see on this slide, we grew by 37 members this year. And of course, one of the points of this session is to recruit more applicants for the coming application period, which is now officially open.
Yeah, I can. Right. So Vanessa, you're right. 2012, we launched the advocacy program, which precedes both Vanessa and I at the organization. It's called the Grass Tops program back then. And it really just had a handful of people. The organization first held its annual advocacy day in the late 90s. So we've had people coming to Washington, D.C. for more than 20 years. And so there's a lot of opportunity and there's a lot of history that this organization has been a part of. We take very seriously our role as the voice for the ovarian cancer community on Capitol Hill. And we're hopeful that throughout this presentation, you'll understand how important that is and see that you can be an important member of this community.
And
Go ahead.
I was going to say for general background too, like, you know, when you have a cause or mission-based organization in DC that's representing an interest or a group, as we are with ovarian cancer patients, it's really critical to have a direct line to that community, because Chad and I, right, we can go to congressional offices all day long and speak on your behalf, and we're certainly credible, you know, coming under the OKRA sort of masthead. But at the end of the day, we are not patients ourselves. So that direct experience is really important. And when it comes to what we do with elected officials, you know, you guys matter more to your members of Congress because you vote for them or you don't vote for them. So they're sort of perpetually trying to curry good favor with you. So you have an in that Chad and I do not have. So that is kind of big picture, the logical underpinning of grassroots, grass tops programs like ours.
Well, not only do you vote or not vote for them, but they represent you. It's their job to help you and support you in any way they can. And so that's why your role is so important in when it comes to advocacy. And it's so important to have as many of your friends join us as well. So hopefully after this presentation, you'll spread the word. So let's get to the next slide if I can figure out there we go. We wanted to give you a little bit about the current structure of the program and how we've organized the groups so you can get a clearer picture on what sort of commitment you might be engaged upon.
Yes, so here is a snapshot of what we have looked like in the past couple of years. And it comes with the caveat that we just launched a survey among current advocate leaders, and we are pouring over feedback that we've received. And so, you know, we do make tweaks and changes along the way. But generally speaking, the program, it meets monthly. So advocate leaders convene monthly, either for a general meeting, and general meetings are where all advocate leaders are in attendance. So when we're at full capacity, that means that all 112 of our advocate leaders are dialing into that general meeting. So in these meetings, we discuss kind of our big picture bread and butter issues. What are these? So the biggest is federal appropriations. This is really federal funding, right? So this is how much funding ovarian cancer programs, ovarian cancer research or education and awareness causes are getting from the federal government. To Chad's point, these members of Congress represent you. These are your tax dollars. So feel ownership, right, over how they're distributed. So general meetings, we spend a lot of time talking about appropriations and other kind of big picture policy issues, and we report out updates. So then in between general meetings, we have committee meetings.
Yeah, and this is something that we instituted a couple of years ago to try to really drill down into some topic areas that have been really important for us, for the entire ovarian cancer community. And we thought this might be an opportunity to turn our advocate leaders into real experts on these issues. But the funny thing is that we learned, Vanessa and I learned, that more often than not, we were being taught by our advocate leaders about these particular issues who have specific experiences. So it's a really great opportunity to share knowledge both ways on these different topic areas. And we've grown a little bit, and the topics may shift as the mood shifts or the interests shift of the program itself, but these are our current specific committee issue areas.
That's right. And I think it's also important to note that part of the reason that we launched these committees was not only to cultivate issue-specific areas of expertise within each of you, but also to provide a space, a more intimate space where we could break out into groups and have, dialogue discussion about more sort of granular topics. This was one thing that we heard as we grew. Advocate leaders did not want to lose the sense of intimacy that the program naturally has fostered. So that's another advantage to the committees.
Yeah, and the 5 issue, you can see them there, the issues that we work on. The education awareness is pretty self-explanatory. Clinical trials, that committee has looked at a lot of different issues around enrollment and access to clinical trials. The cost of care and treatment deals with a lot of issues. What you may have seen our on-demand session on copay accumulator programs. We talk about that in that community or in that committee. We have a committee that deals with health equity in underserved communities. That's a particular area of interest that we've focused on more in the last few years, as we identified that as a real issue of need. And then a committee on precision medicine, which also deals with access to genetic and genomic testing. That is something that we're also, as a whole organization, trying to address more knowledge about access to that kind of testing, and also awareness of your own particular precision medicine needs and genetic risk. So those are the 5 issue specific committees that we had this year.
And you choose which committee you want to be part of. So you sign up at the beginning of the program year, which aligns with the calendar year. So if you were a new advocate leader, you would pick your committee in January.
So those are our meetings that we have throughout the year, but we also have a virtual communication platform that we use. It's basically a message board, but it's a way to communicate and have conversations back and forth, and provide you with all the necessary materials. We provide educational materials, sample letters. We provide updates, tell you where links are to e-action alerts that we might be encouraging you to send throughout the year. It's a nice way to be able to communicate, and they show up right in your email inbox, so it shouldn't be too heavy a lift to gain access to that. Generally, we think that the commitment is about 2 to 4 hours a month. So I can think of a lot of things that I spend 2 to 4 hours doing during a particular month. So if you think that you have the time, we know that everybody is incredibly busy and has a lot on their mind and a lot to work with. But if you think you have a spare 2 or 4 hours in a month, then we would love to have you be a part of the program. And we understand that life often gets in the way. If you have to dip in and out sometimes, of course, we understand that. But generally, 2 to 4 hours of commitment is what we're looking for the month. And then we require that you attend our Spring Advocacy Day. That is a keystone of the program, and it has been held virtually the last couple of years, as Vanessa noted. But attendance in the Spring Advocacy Day is critical, and it's really important. And I think while we say it's mandatory to participate, everybody will want to participate because it's a key day, it's important, and it's really rewarding and impactful. So a little bit more on Advocacy Day. I don't know if you're familiar, but this is a really effective and frequently used tool by advocacy organizations to bring people to Capitol Hill traditionally, to all get together and march as one to the Capitol to let members of Congress know how important this issue is.
Right. And so, historically, and those of you who have attended past in real life, in-person advocacy days know how this goes. You take a photo on the Capitol steps and everyone is wearing their color. And as Chad said, this is not just us that do this. This is all different sorts of disease causes and missions. So oftentimes on the Hill, it looks like color wars, right? Because everyone is there in their different colors representing. And this visibility is actually really important. And of course, it follows that a popular time to hold an advocacy day is spring. Why spring? Because this is a critical time in the decision-making process for the federal budget. So groups want representation. They want to go to their members of Congress. They want to meet with the Committee on Appropriations. Those are the legislators that are really charged with determining which federal program gets how much money. And they want to be like, yoo-hoo, don't forget about us as you're looking toward next fiscal year. Here's how much money we are requesting. So, to have a strong showing, to have a lot of meetings, to be able to trumpet this and to have all of those touch points is really, really important and pays literally in dividends.
Yeah, that's right. And as Vanessa notes here, we had been in person annually. The first event that this organization hosted was in 1998, and it was a small event that has grown significantly since then. But since the pandemic, we've gone to a virtual format. Our hope is to bring some in-person component back as soon as we can. There's really nothing like being there together with you all on Capitol Hill. We love to have that opportunity as the Hill is becoming a more welcome place to in-person visits. It's still not as welcome as it once was, but it's coming back slowly. So we're thinking about how we're going to do it this year. We'll most likely have a virtual component to our advocacy day and are trying to have an in-person component as well. But stay tuned on that. Either way, the Hill Day is really effective and can be really helpful. Does it make a difference, Vanessa?
Indeed, it does. And we have a little case study, an example of that in the next slides. So kind of the running theme here, right, is on Capitol Hill, you need representation. Stakeholder representation is everything. And when it comes to the federal budget, they're always looking to cut the fat. So you got to be there and you have to be specific in what you're requesting. You have to be loud and proud and persist. So it does matter. Visibility representation is important. The bigger, the better. The louder, the splashier, the bolder, the better. So we can look no further than the federal appropriations process. So we're actually at a key point right now, at an inflection point when it comes to appropriations. And that's because the federal fiscal year is October 1st to September 30th. So fiscal year 2022 ends September 30th. That's next week. So lawmakers are scrambling to get as much as they can done on these appropriations bills. The way the federal government is funded is across 12 standing appropriations bills. Each bill funds a grouping of different agencies. So we care about 2 of these 12 appropriations bills. One, it's very intuitive, it makes all the sense in the world. That's Department of Health and Human Services. So that is the agency that funds National Institutes of Health, which is the parent agency to National Cancer Institute, NCI. So that is the lead in all things cancer research for this country. So they are materially speaking, they fund the most, so hundreds of millions in annually in ovarian cancer and all cancer types. But there are lots of other different smaller federal programs that also fund ovarian cancer and other cancer types. But we have NCI there, and then we also have CDC. CDC is another HHS agency, and there are two programs we care about funded through CDC. And then the last one we have is under Department of Defense. And that is kind of a unique program. We will talk more about that in the next slide. But this slide you're looking at here is just a blurb from Politico. Politico is the pulse point for Capitol Hill and for everything policy related inside the Beltway. And so this is a clipping from today's newsletter. You can see some people have already speculated that there may be a federal government shutdown. Politico says, no, it's highly unlikely, but you never know. It does happen from time to time. And everyone is, kind of running pretty quickly to meet this deadline. And more likely than not, they will not finalize all 12 of these appropriations bills. Rather, they will make progress on negotiations and then complete a short-term funding stopgap resolution called a CR, just to buy them more time. Next slide, please.
Yeah, here's where you can see that the juice is worth the squeeze. This is a great chart that I think our advocate leaders should be really proud of. As Vanessa mentioned, there are really three programs that we talk about the most. Two with the CDC, you can see here Johanna's Law and the Ovarian Cancer Control Initiative. And the other is the Ovarian Cancer Research Program, OCRP, the first column here under DOD. We talk about those the most because we can have the most impact on those programs. Congress sets the number of the dollar figure for each of those programs in their annual appropriations bills. So we have to ask for specific numbers. And these are the numbers that Congress allots every year. So that's why we talk about them the most, because we can have the most impact.
So, and just to kind of pause here and appreciate, that our voice does matter and is heard. So let's take the first column there. That's Ovarian Cancer Research Program. That's the program under Department of Defense. And just to distinguish it from National Cancer Institute funding, so National Cancer Institute funded research, this program funds high risk, high reward proposals. So these proposals have a hard time getting funding from other federal funding streams and other funding sources. They tend to be a bit riskier, but the track record is incredible. They're very discriminating nonetheless, but what they're doing is very unique. They play a unique and separate role that is complementary, not redundant, to the research funded by NCI. But if we look there, if we pause there, so the first row is 2014. You can see in 2014, that program was funded at $20 million. OCRP got $20 million. So last year, fast forward, we're at 45 million. So we've more than doubled program funding in less than 10 years. That's incredible. And that really is a testament to organizing. That's a testament to doing activations. That's a testament to our advocate leaders. So it just goes to show that, as Chad said, right, the juice is worth the squeeze. Now, this second column here, NCI, now that's one, we still care about that, but as Chad said, it's last of the four. We really focus on the other three. Why is that? It's because Congress does not have direct influence over how much ovarian cancer gets of the NCI top line funded number, right? So how it's allocated across cancer types, that's an agency level decision. Chad and I will meet with NCI and try to appeal to the powers that be there, but that's out of Congress's sort of purview. They don't drill down that far. So that gives you some sort of explanation and some color behind why our big focus, right, is these other three. So Johanna's Law and OCCI, that's Ovarian Cancer Control Initiative, these are both housed under CDC. And again, Congress determines each year how much each of those programs gets. So that again is why we really have very specific asks around those programs and have prioritized them. Johanna's Law includes the only national public health education and awareness campaign. It targets at-risk populations, but also providers and medical professionals. And it educates and raises awareness on the 5 primary gynecologic cancers. So it's not just ovarian cancer. And then Ovarian Cancer Control Initiative, OCCI, that's also implemented by CDC. They are in charge of a lot of data collection and various sort of grants. They work with state departments of health and do surveys and other types of things like that. So that is those are our 4 big funding streams. And when it comes to one thing that advocate leaders have since inception, right? Our biggest issue that we will always be beating the drum for and always be advocating on, it really is appropriations. And then, attached to that, of course, is the centerpiece of the program, which are these advocacy days, and they're timed to align with appropriations.
Yeah, and another thing that I should note is you see the increase in these programs, and you might think, well, that makes sense. Programs get more funding over the years to keep up with, the cost of living and other sorts of inflationary figures. But it's not really the case if you drill down. If you look at other programs that are similar for different types of cancers or other types of research, we've done better than many others have done, and that's really a testament to the efforts that have been made to ask for these increases. It's our opinion that there needs to be more funds put towards research. We think that ovarian cancer mortality rates have not decreased the way we want them to, and we think that part of the reason is because Congress doesn't put enough money towards funding research. And so that's why we make this a keystone of our ask, and it's so important for us, and we're so happy that we've made progress, but we know we need to do a lot more. So if this is interesting to you at all or excites you, the great news is that we just opened up yesterday our portal for becoming an advocate leader for 2023. You can simply go to ocrahope.org/advocacy, and you'll see a link there to apply to be a part of the program. You could also use this link here, ocrahope.org/advocacy/advocate leaders/advocate-leader application. I can't see if there's something at the end. No. Okay. So, but just go to ocrahope.org/advocacy and you'll find the link. We'd really like to have you, join us. You'll probably you won't take too long to fill out the application, of 10-15 minutes. But we really like to get to know you a little bit, know your story, know what brought you to us, why you're interested in becoming an advocate. And then we'll have an interview process with you, get to know you a little bit more. And then if all goes well, we'll welcome you to the program and get you inaugurated in January. The application deadline for this year is November 23rd. So I hope that all of you will, if you're not already part of the program, I see many of you who are here are already. If you're not already part of the program, you'll put your applications in, and then you'll go and find 5 of your friends to get them to put their applications in as well. There's nothing like having some company when we're on these endeavors. As we said, the new cohort starts in January 2023, and we take special attention to train new members to make them feel really welcome and comfortable in dealing with the types of advocacy that we want them to engage upon. And I think from what we've heard, people have been really getting a lot out of the training. And you'll also find yourself with mentors in the program. There are people who, as Vanessa noted, have been with us from the beginning of this, and they're great resources to talk about their experience and the stories that they've had over the years, the interaction that they've had with their members of Congress and their staff back at home. So there's no experience necessary. You don't have to have had any sort of government affairs experience in the past. What's most important is that you're willing to do the work and share your story and share your advocacy and being involved with the program. That's really all we ask, is that you share your enthusiasm and effort, and we can handle the rest. I can see that, like Ellen says, it's nerve-wracking the first time, but by the third time you're an old pro. And she might mean the third advocacy day, but I've heard some say when they go to their first meeting, it feels weird, and then by the end of the day, they're practically leading the whole committee in the meeting to tell their story and make their asks. So it's a great opportunity. You can see here we have the email addresses for two of our colleagues, Emily Hines. She is your main point of contact for the program. And if you have any questions about applying, she would be the first person to go to. We also have our colleague, Natalie Filipovich. She is our Ann Kolker Advocacy Fellow, and she's with us as well. I'm going to stop sharing now so that we can all see each other, and invite anybody who's a part of the program or who has questions to join the presentation now, and let us know if you have any questions or would like to share anything about your experience that you think that would be useful to this group. And I can already see Rachel Miller Garcia has her hand raised physically, and you can go ahead, unmute yourself, and welcome to the conversation.
I just want to give a shout out to the two of you, anybody that is new on this call and thinking about becoming an advocate. These two people, Vanessa and Chad, and Natalie and Sarah, who's probably on this call too, are rock stars. They do so much incredible work, and they help us, we help them. It's a beautiful synergy. And I just want to say, because of the work we've all done, and because of the notoriety of this organization, I have City Hall being lit up in teal tonight at 7 o'clock in San Francisco. And so if anybody's on here from San Francisco, come join us. And those are the kinds of things that when we're pushing for legislation and we're pushing for all of our people in Washington to support us, when we ask for things like this and we have Okra behind us, that's the kind of stuff you get done too. And so I'm co-chairing a big event on October 11th to raise money for OCRA, and along with my colleague Jonathan, and I'll be speaking there on behalf of Okra, so that Diana doesn't have to come on out. And those are the kinds of things you do. You get out in the community, you bring awareness to this deadly disease. And I think I'm going to move to Hawaii so that you got that state covered, and then you only have 7 states to fill.
Oh, that's fine. I'll take your place in San Francisco and we can have a good swap.
Thanks, Rachel, for saying that.
Yeah,
And
we really appreciate
congratulations.
you.
What a coup. San
Yes.
Francisco, that's a huge city. That's huge exposure.
I'll
Feather in your
show
cap.
all the photos. I'll hashtag everything as soon as I get them tonight.
That's
That's
great.
awesome.
Thank you so much, Rachel. We couldn't appreciate you more.
Thank you.
I see Ellen's got her hand up. So Ellen, unmute yourself and take it away.
Well, hi, everyone. I'm an advocate leader from Maryland. Been with the program since about 2017, if I remember correctly. And if any of this seems like you might be interested, but you're a little overwhelmed and there's language in there you didn't get, don't worry about it. Federal government is just a different animal, and you learn to speak the language. And I'm the one who typed the thing that, yeah, by the 3rd meeting on your first day, all this that felt so overwhelming no longer is. And by the time you're done on that first day, you can't wait to go back and do more.
Thank you, Ellen. We really appreciate you. You bring such a great experience and knowledge to the program. And I wish I had about 50 more of you. So.
Well, it does help that I was a federal employee, so I speak the language from the other side.
Exactly.
But I just don't want anyone to feel like, but all this seems like over my head. It's not. It's just a little bit different. And these guys take care of it, the training, and you will have people that have done this before with you. No one's going to send you in solo and make you do it all by yourself the first time.
Right,
Thanks
yeah.
for saying that, Ellen.
I see Marianne, you have your hand up. So you're up. You're on.
Yeah, I think that I applied already. Is there a way to check to see if I already applied right now online while we're here, or no?
Let me check. I'll go into my other mailbox while we're doing this, and if I can find out before we sign off, I'll let you know. Absolutely. When did you apply, Marianne?
Oh, I think about 3 weeks ago.
So we didn't open the link up until yesterday. So
Okay, so I didn't. You know what I did? I wrote an
Mm-mm.
email and I said I was interested in
Oh,
being an
okay.
advocate, and no one responded. Probably because you were all busy with the conference.
Let me see if I could dig that up, and then if I can find that, then we can get the process hot wired here.
Well, what I'll do is I'll just go online now and submit the application.
That would
As
be
long as I
great.
know it's, yeah, I'll do
Yeah.
that.
Perfect. Thank you.
And
That's the
I'm
best
an
solution.
ex-federal employee. I work for the VA, so I know what's going on. And I have a doctorate in public health, so I can speak the talk.
Well,
I-
you then definitely go sign up, because we could use your expertise and know-how. It'd be great to have you as part of the program.
Okay, thanks.
Okay, do we have any other questions or thoughts that people want to add?
What's the best way to get out the word to those other states?
It's a great question. We've we've been really limited by word of mouth and friends of friends, and then of course we do social media to try to recruit, but if there are other ways of recruiting, we do try to work with our community partners as well, but those states aren't particularly well represented by community partners either. As you can see, the states that are unrepresented are states that don't have a lot of people in them relatively, and so the incidence rate is lower. There's fewer opportunities for us to find people who are affected, but I think
I'm
we
going
can
to
do
guess
it.
there's some rural areas in those states too that they're probably getting later diagnosed as well, so they could probably.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
as you know, we do have representation from places like Montana, but in Montana, there's only one gynecologic oncologist for the entire state, and that state is pretty darn massive. So
Yeah.
it's a difficult. It's difficult. We welcome any suggestions on recruitment. If there are ideas that you have on different sort of groups or chat rooms, or types of ways that we can recruit outside of our normal channels, we would love that. Not only in geographic areas, but in other communities where there are disparities that are underrepresented, communities of color that are underrepresented as well. We'd like to improve our ranks there as well. I think that's really important to make sure that the program is serving everyone it ought to. I see Patricia with her hand up. Patricia, where did you go? There you are.
Here I am. So I just want to say that I came to OCRA because my friend was a cancer survivor. And so I came in as a caregiver. So there's different angles that everyone comes in with. I mean, I was an ER nurse and a ICU nurse and a caregiver, and then others are survivors and others are, government talk and like everybody brings their expertise to this. And so I think it's one of those really unique little situations that we can help each other with getting the best bang for the buck, like you were talking about. So when we go in and talk to people, but also keeping the dialogue going all year. for just general knowledge base. So whatever we can do to get it out there, I say go for it. So if anybody's out just on the fence about wanting to be in it, just jump in and we won't let you drown. So
Thanks for the nudge.
Yes,
Patricia.
thanks, Patricia. Appreciate that, and I couldn't agree more with that. Everyone has a different story and a different reason for participating, and we really appreciate it coming from all sides. I see Sally with her hand up and Rachel. Sally first.
Hey, Chad. Hey, Vanessa.
Hi.
Good to see you.
So I've only participated virtually and always had an interest, but really got pulled in when the first virtual fall advocacy day was done. And that was pretty much opened up to everybody that had an interest. And people were able to participate without the massive commitment of the next calendar year and learning a bit more about what you're going to do and what goes on. So I think that would be a great thing to continue. Even if we could put together a kind of a buddy program where if somebody does not want to make the initial commitment because it's a little scary, we can pair them up with an advocate buddy to kind of go along with on advocacy day, and they can sit and listen and watch. Also, since the conference is going on right now and we just opened the applications on the Okra homepage, can we add a banner, like a scrolling banner along the top of the homepage that is kind of an announcement saying, applications are now open, click here, and that'll be a link right to the application page.
Yeah, absolutely.
People aren't looking specifically for that, they will never find it.
Yeah, great comments. So I appreciate that. Yes, we'll have a news story that you'll see that'll be evident right on the front page of the website that'll hopefully get more people involved. And as to the advocacy day, yes, they will be open to all people, whether they're part of the program or not. And we'll make sure that people who are completely uninitiated will have plenty of support and have buddies that they can attend meetings with. Thanks for those comments and suggestions. It's really helpful. Rachel, you're up. I know sometimes you got to hunt for that mute button. You did it.
Sorry. So this is amazing. I am so glad this exists. This is my first conference and I wasn't super aware of the Advocate Leader program. I've been like hustling. I'm in Scottsdale, Arizona, but I'm from New Jersey. So I've collected 10 proclamations in Arizona and 11 in New Jersey for September as Ovarian Cancer Awareness Month. And so like, I am ready to be boots on the ground. I'm so excited about this. But I just want to make sure, since Advocacy Day is obviously a requirement, do you have the dates of that? I don't know if I missed that or no.
We don't yet, but we will soon. It will be in March. And it's usually on the earlier side of March but as soon as we have the dates, we'll make them available to everyone. And it will be soon. We're trying to close in on that really soon. So,
and let me add too that the mandatory piece of it, of course, we understand that sometimes life gets in the way and things come up, and if you have to bail because of something beyond your control, or something comes up, we understand. It's not like an automatic dismissal from the program.
The other nice benefit of having a virtual advocacy day, if that's the way we go this year, is that there is some buffer room built in. So if somebody isn't available on the day, particularly that all the meetings are trying to be scheduled, they can be scheduled later in the week. So it's kind of a nice facet of the virtual day. If it's in person, it makes it a little bit tougher to have that kind of flexibility. But yes, Rachel, as soon as we know that date, we'll make everyone aware of it, and we'll publish it on our website so that you'll know and have that commitment date in mind.
And thank you for the proclamations.
That's amazing.
Awesome.
I've been hustling. I do have to thank my brother. He's running for mayor of like my hometown in New Jersey. So like he gave me his like insider.
Oh my gosh. Well,
list of,
see,
like,
this is great, right? Friends in high places, an elected official
I was,
in the
like, texting local
family.
mayors in New Jersey, like, hey, remember? Don't forget.
That's great.
I love it. That's awesome.
What part of what town in New Jersey?
So I'm from Rockaway Township in Morris County.
I grew up in Basking Ridge.
Okay, so I could tell you from New Jersey, the proclamations, we have East Hanover, Chatham Borough, Morris Plains, Dover, Boonton, Morristown, Morris Township, Madison, West Caldwell, Woodland Park, Bloomingdale, and Bloomingdale.
That's awesome.
I love it. Thank you so much for that.
It's important. So I
Chad and
appreciate it.
Vanessa, I would just like to say I was part of your training and successful legislative advocacy last spring. And it was a great experience working with the two of you. And there were 5 of us that came together, and I was kind of picked to lead off the group, but 5 of us out of the Indianapolis, Indiana area, we had a good deal of success communicating with the legislators. So I look forward to trying to be even a stronger leader, but I was very interested in doing the spring work, and I routinely stay in touch legislatively because of community work that I do. So look forward to working with you again.
Thanks, Julie, so much. We heard good reports back from those Indiana meetings, so you must have done a great job.
We had some real success, some good communication. You might find it a chuckle. I think our erstwhile senator is now considering running for governor, so we might be losing one guy and having to pick up a new person.
Well, it's okay. We're always ready to talk to the new folks. Gives us a new opportunity, right?
That's right.
Thanks, Julie. I appreciate
Thank
those
you.
comments, and we were so glad to have you with us at the last advocacy day.
Thank you.
Marianne, I think your hand went back up.
Yeah, the deal is I'd like to know where we can get a list of people that are advocates now.
So anybody who's part of the Advocate Leader program can gain access to all the members and all their email addresses, but we wouldn't share our advocate leaders' names and contact information outside of the program, just for privacy's sake.
I see. Okay, that's great.
So
Do you have a specific question for an advocate leader that you would want?
No, I just wanted to know about Michigan. It seems like
Okay.
there's already somebody in Michigan.
We
Is
do.
that a problem?
We do have some advocates in Michigan, but we can always use more. It's a big state. Michigan has the benefit of having a pretty effective state organization, Michigan Ovarian Cancer Alliance.
I'm a member.
MIOCA, and that we always have there's always a member of MIOCA that's part of our Advocate Leaders program, as well as other people from Michigan that have joined over the years and have been with us from the beginning, some of them. So
Okay, well, great, because
yeah,
I can get some oncologists on board.
absolutely. We're gonna find your application, but in the meantime, send me an email. It's cramsey@ocrahope.org, CRAMSEY@ocra.org, and we'll get the ball rolling for you.
Okay,
I'd also there it is. Thank you, Emily. And this, you can see in the chat, Emily just posted my email address. Feel free to email me there. And I'd also like Emily and Natalie to come off mute and say hello and introduce themselves to you as well. So starting with Natalie, since I see you're unmuted.
Hi, everyone. I'm Natalie. As Chad mentioned, I am the Ann Kolker Fellow for this year. So I am with OCRA for a year and kind of getting my feet wet in the health policy advocacy area. So very excited to meet you all and work with everyone who will be part of Advocate Leaders. Also, Marianne, I'm from Michigan originally. So nice to hear that you're
Okay.
also from Michigan. So
Great.
Lots of Michiganders on this call already. And Emily, would you mind saying hello?
Yeah, absolutely. Hi, everyone. My name is Emily Hines. I am the program associate at OCRA, so I work with Chad's team as well as our other program teams. But I am kind of the main point of contact for our Advocate Leaders program. So if you do have questions about the application or about the program in general, as you're looking or thinking about applying or working on your application, you can email me as well. I can put my email in the chat. And as long as we're shouting out hometowns, I am also from Richmond, Virginia. I saw Sally put in the chat.
Virginia. Thank you. It's been great having Natalie and Emily. They're doing a great job with us here, and always excited to have people from all over the country be involved in this program. And there's Emily's email as well. Emily would be your first point of contact on most things with the Advocate Leaders program. So any other questions? I don't see anything else in the chat. If anybody has any other, I'm going to do the going once, going twice thing here just to see if we have going once, going twice. Any last questions, comments? Great. Well, it's been wonderful talking with you all. Hopefully we've encouraged some of you to join the program, but encourage your friends to join as well. The application could be found at ocrahope.org/advocacy, and then you can join the program there by filling out the application. Vanessa, any last words?
No, thanks everyone for coming and for the great questions and for your interest.
Thank you so much. Enjoy the rest of the conference. We'll be around, ask questions. We'll see you. Bye-bye.
Bye.